Well, Neil, you were a seasoned commentator before embarking on your current path at GB News. But I'd like to know, was there a moment, a particular shift in politics or an event that pushed you over the edge from commentator into a passionate culture warrior?
It's a good question that I keep asking myself. And my wife and I, we talk about it all the time. And that's a running strand because she and I, Trudy and I, had always been, how would you describe it? I suppose just law-abiding, heads down, people getting on with our lives and operating. I now realise under the misapprehension that whatever government was out there, of whatever political stripe, was fundamentally invested in the common good and looking out for me and mine. And that revelation that I've gone through in the last 2 or 3 years that has run counter to that assumption. We ask ourselves all of it. What happened to us? We say, why did we decide not to take the vaccines, for example? Why did we, quietly refuse to follow these regulations, the social distancing, the mask wearing, and all the rest of it? Because it ran counter to the sort of people we had always been for all of the previous part of our lives. So it's a question. It's an ongoing question. I think to begin with, I've always been self-employed, and when the first shutting down of the world happened, the most immediate and instantaneous effect on me and us was we lost all our ability to pay the bills. We couldn't work. Everything that I had been doing, theatre shows and all of it, all the things that I was making a living at were suddenly gone. And we looked at one another and thought, how long is this going to last? Because we can't, you can hold your breath for only so long, and then you've got to start breathing again. And as weeks turned into months, I think that was the trigger to begin with. That was the splash of cold water to the face, where we thought, what is this exactly? Because we had never been especially afraid of COVID-19. We just didn't take it as this great threat to life. And then once that happened, as they say, once you see it, you just can't unsee it. And once we decided that we were being mistreated, our trust violated, we were being told things that didn't match up with the pictures. If you get my meaning, we were watching events, but the way they were being described to us and the responses to them that were being offered up, they just didn't marry. And so there grew this increasing dislocation for us, but what we were being told and what we were seeing at the same time. So I suppose there wasn't really a Damascene moment for me. There wasn't a single day where I thought, I understand an alternative interpretation of this reality. It was a gradual accretion of what seemed to us one quite obvious thing after another. And also, once you have that realization, all I wanted to do to begin with was have the freedom to ask questions. I thought, well, I've got some platforms. I used to have a column in a national newspaper, which, amongst the many things that I lost during the last 2 or 3 years, I was a regular guest on a radio show here in the United Kingdom, and I was asking questions, and the way in which the response to my asking questions was so aggressive, from the top down, from the state, from the establishment, all the way down, I was just being told to be quiet. And when that started to happen, my antenna really began to twitch, because I thought, why is it suddenly illegitimate to ask reasonable questions about such life-changing restrictions and regulations that are being imposed upon us? And once you realise that rather than debate with you or engage with you as reasonable adults, we were being treated like children, and unruly children. Some people said we were being treated like sheep, but whatever analogy works for you, we were being told what to do, and when we tried to ask why, we were just told to be quiet.